So I met David when I interviewed for new builders on a home we were going to build here. So when we found this home, it needed a lot of work, and I knew that from what we had done before, so it was real important to me because David and I had a great relationship, and he was my guy. After meeting with 5 or 6 other builders, I knew he was my guy. Didn't know whether he'd be interested in a renovation or not, but this turned out to be essentially a custom build because we took every piece of this house apart. All the drywall was gone so we could spray foam it. Every frame, every piece of flooring, every piece of tile. There were rooms here, a half bath in what's now the kitchen, made no sense, so we moved it. We didn't change the exterior walls at all. Everything was internal, but every piece of this house needed to be touched. So it was essentially a new build, and I think that's where he got excited about it and saw what we were willing to do to make it a house where we want to live, not something we wanted to flip or just do a cheap kind of, okay, let's put some lipstick on it and sell it and make a couple bucks. This is where we're going to live. And he saw the materials we liked. He saw the kind of things that Lisa wanted, and I think there was kind of an agreement of minds that this would be a project that would fit into his custom side and very, very high end, and the level of detail he does is what originally sold us. And when he heard that's what we want to do here, I think that's what intrigued him to do this project with us.
David really helped us every step of the way. Like, he had amazing ideas. Thank goodness he talked us, because at first I really wanted to keep the flooring. That was literally the only thing I did like in this house was the floor, or at least I thought I did. But then David was like, you have dogs, this flooring's gonna scratch, it was too thin, it literally was the only thing that had character. So I'm so glad we listened to him, and it was mismatched. So we would have put carpet here and there. So thank goodness we listened to him, and we did the same flooring throughout. And he had also amazing other ideas that were like, that we didn't even think of.
Yeah, I think the materials that we had in mind, there were things he suggested, there were combinations, there were, he does this for a living. So we've done a couple of projects. This one was definitely higher end than anything we've done before because this was going to be our home, right? So he understood that and walked us through, and to the level of, if you look at some of the detail on the trim, he had his guys build sample trim on one window so we could come see it and look at it and say, oh yeah, that is very, very custom, but that's the low country look, which I had to learn what the low country look is. I'm a mountain guy. But that's the level of detail he provided on a daily, really literally on a daily basis as we worked through the planning, the selections, and then the whole process. We were here the whole time. Most of the time this was being built, so I was here every day. He had a project supervisor here every day if he wasn't here. And the thing that initially drew me to him, we got along really well personally, but when I started calling these different groups, he picked up the phone. And the second call, he called me back in 3 or 4 minutes. And I've seen in her business, the communication is one of the greatest things. Like, this is a massive investment, okay? So you need to know what is happening today, who is coming tomorrow, and I knew the process enough to be probably a little annoying, but he worked me through that and walked me through, and his project supervisor was great. So I think that was kind of the initial thing, that he's a guy that you don't have to go through 7 layers of people to get to the guy who's the guy. He's going to give you a very direct answer when you ask him a question. If you don't agree with him, it's fine. He's not going to get offended. He's going to give you what you want, but he will always give you a very direct and honest answer.
One of the most important things to me is, I actually trusted him. I believed in what he said, and he delivered. And his subs, all the people he used, his supervisors, all the people were class acts. And for me, that you need to be able to trust, especially half the time we weren't even in the state when we were doing some of this renovation. So the trust level of him sending photos and the communication, and it's important to have that trust. Because if you don't have that trust, you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Or, you don't even know if they're doing anything. But everything he said, he delivered, and I thought we really did trust him.
I got to talking to all his subs. All his subs like this company a lot. And in construction, again, I know just enough to be dangerous. When your subs like you, those are the guys who show up. I've dealt and known with some subs who can't stand the general contractor, and that's bad for everyone. So to me, when I got, and we had already picked him, there was no turning back, but when I got on site and started chatting with the plumbers and the electricians and the framers and the drywallers and they all spoke very, very highly, both of David and the entire team. That meant a lot to me.
He has a very great reputation.
You know, for me, I think the ideal fit to work with Summerall Custom Construction is someone who knows generally what they want. David was real clear up front. I'm not a designer, I'm not an architect. You give me the plan, I can build whatever you want. Where he's great is giving opinions. Should I do this or this? What's the benefit of a vented versus a ventless fireplace? You know, things like that. But I think you have to have some idea of what you want. I think the quality level that you desire needs to be very, very high end. He builds a custom home. So if you just want something that's ready to go, I get to pick one of these 3 fixtures, one of these 3 floors, one of these 3 paint colors, probably not your guy. If you want something that's really custom for you and someone who's going to work through the whole process, even if you don't know what you want yet, he will get you there. I mean, his project supervisor, even down to the detail of the grout color we picked in each bathroom. He brought 100 samples and we laid them down, and he went from 100 to 50 to 20 to 5, and he's got a whole process for that. So I think the customization level and the attention to detail and the communication, everybody wants that. But I think, you know, that's the person who's going to work really well with David, and David will cater to exceptionally well.